Hi, everybody. I'd like to welcome you all to Wednesday webinar. I'm going to be presenting, my name is Shelley, and I'm going to be presenting a webinar on grammar and punctuation tidbits. So I really had what I did was I tried to pick the things that were coming up that we were struggling with, and I really had a hard time picking and choosing what I could fit into this small amount of time that we have. So we're barely going to scratch the surface of in-depth grammar, but we're going to touch on some of the things that I hopefully will help you. Okay, now I've got somebody I can hear speaking, so if you have a microphone, please be sure that it is muted. I'm trying to make sure everyone is, okay, here we have, who is this? Yeah, we're good, we have it fixed. I don't know what's happening, but you can, an instructor has just joined, but we're all good. I don't know, somebody called the college, and so, but anyway, we've got the problem fixed, so here we go. All right. Let's get started. Okay, grammar and punctuation tidbits. Okay, so grammar is a big topic. People spend years studying it in school, so obviously we don't have that kind of time. We're just going to briefly touch on it today, and I guess I need to start my slideshow. No, I want to start from the beginning. From beginning, there we go. Oh gosh. Nope. I want to go back up to the beginning. I apologize, ladies and gentlemen. From beginning, here we go. All right. So grammar is the study of words and how they are used in sentences and how they can change and how they change different situations. If we have a firm grasp of grammar, it makes our job easier to fix grammar in dictated reports, because as you know, we cannot always rely on the skills of the dictator, and nor should we. They may have poor fundamental grammar themselves. They may have be English as second language, or have a limited grasp of English grammar. They can be careless and not even and rush through, make errors, and we are expected to recognize and correct those errors. For example, the provider dictates the lungs is clear. We are expected to recognize that that's an error in grammar and correct it. So the lungs are clear. There's two lungs. They are clear. Okay. And oftentimes they're dictating while they're reading their notes. They just got done seeing the patient, or maybe it's the end of the day. They're reading over the notes and the lab reports and trying to get everything in the report, that summarizes the visit with the patient that they just had. So they're not necessarily looking or seeing that end result, that the end report that is going to end up in the patient chart. And they're certainly not always paying attention to grammar. So that's where we come in. And having great grammar skills is the difference between a good medical transcriptionist and a great one. So we're just going to briefly touch on parts of speech, parts of a sentence. It's a huge topic, and there's a ton of information out there. Obviously, there's a lot of good grammar sites. If you need to, you can Google, use Google and come up with a good grammar site, Grammarly.com, GrammarGirl.com. There's several of them. Purdue OWL Writing Lab, they have online, little, what do you call them? Little tests, not tests, but activities, that you can do to help learn grammar, and tons of them for punctuation as well. There's a lot of stuff there. Okay, I have somebody in the chat box. I'm going to check just quickly to see what that is. I have a webcam prompt on the bottom of my screen. No, you don't need your webcam on, please. We're going to be looking at my screen today. Maybe some other time. Okay. All right, so here we go, parts of speech. There are several parts of speech: nouns, pronouns, adjectives, verbs, adverbs, prepositions, and conjunctions. Okay, so the noun is the person, place, or thing that we're talking about. It's the subject, usually. Okay. And the well, we're going to get more in depth into this later. But all this, you can get more information and look in depth on these on your own time. We're just going to look today at nouns, adjectives, and conjunctions mostly. Okay. Because we really don't have time for a complete class on English. And yeah, for most of us, it's been a while since we've had to think about parts of speech. We've been out of school or college or, out of whatever for quite some time, so we're not, we don't have to stop and think how to correct, if that's a noun or a verb. Okay, so a noun is a word used to describe or to name a person, place, thing, or idea. Proper nouns name a particular person, place, thing, and are usually capitalized, like General Hospital and White House. You see the list there. Okay. Collective nouns are nouns that name a group of persons or things that are regarded as a single unit. And compound nouns are composed of more than one word. So daughter-in-law, son-in-law, you get it. Okay. So those are nouns. They describe person, place, thing, ideas. Verbs. What is a verb? A verb is a word that expresses action or helps make a statement. Some verbs express physical action. The obvious verbs, play, move, and others express action that is mental. Think, imagine. Action verbs may or may not take an object. So the noun or pronoun, which is the object, that completes the action by showing who or what is affected by the action. So if you say the girl ran, the girl is the subject and ran is the verb, or the object and ran is the verb. So you may not have, I got that backwards. The girl is the subject, ran is the verb, but there is no object. Okay, so transitive verbs have an object. The patient gave consent for treatment. So consent is the object of gave. What did the patient give? Consent. So intransitive verbs do not have a direct object. The girl ran, the baby cried. There's no object there. Okay. Linking verbs, helping verbs and linking verbs. They make a statement without expressing action. So they express a state or condition linking back to the subject, the most common of which are the be verbs. Am, is, are, was, were, be, being, been. Those are the be verbs. Let's see, we've got somebody down there. Let me check here. Okay, all right. That's good. Okay. I know some people, I think, forget that these are verbs. The be, am, is, are, were, all those that are verbs. Okay, so, but they are only considered verbs when they modify or describe the subject and when they are followed by a noun or adjective. So like medications are, that's a verb because they're describing the subject. Okay, the patient looked happy and well. Happy and well modify the patient. So it's a verb. She was being evasive in her answers. Evasive modifies she, makes it a verb. Okay? Is someone, let's see, I don't see any. Oh, okay. All right, here we go. Okay, helping verbs are verbs that help the main verb express action or make a statement. So the common helping verbs, again, are am, is, the be verbs, plus a few more. Do, did, have, has, could have. Okay, so has arrived. The patient has arrived for her visit. The patient should have called to cancel her visit. So these are helping verbs. Has arrived and should have called. And they're the other ones. And split verbs occur when words are inserted between the verb phrase. So you can have a verb and a helper split up. She will routinely return for follow-up. Will return. Okay, that's that. Adjectives. So an adjective is a word used to modify a noun or a pronoun by telling what kind or by pointing out which one or how many. So clear is modifying conjunctiva, conjunctivae. Clear conjunctiva. Loose stools. Non-compliant patient, what kind? All right. This patient, that x-ray, which one? Numerous complaints, a few days, 7 cats, how many? So these words that are underlined are adjectives. They modify the subject. Okay, close that. And sometimes nouns can modify other nouns, like sofa, cushion, hospital bed. Okay, so wooden beads. So here's one of the areas that some of us struggle with is the subject-verb agreement. So subject and verbs must agree with each other in number for a sentence to make sense. Most of this is straightforward, but there are, you know, funny things that happen, different things and rules and exceptions to everything. But for an example, would you say they are funny, or would you say they is funny? Okay, since they is plural, you'd opt for the plural form of the verb are. Those be verbs. You know, and they do it all the time. They say the extremities is, or, you know, the lungs, they do it. So that, you know, we just have to watch out for that and correct that. And knowing what's wrong helps us fix it. Okay, so a subordinate clause, or an independent clause, I guess, is a clause that comes between the subject and verb, but do not affect their agreement. Okay, so an independent clause is a complete sentence, right? We all know that. And then so the subordinate clause is an incomplete sentence. It cannot stand on its own as a sentence. So here we have the patient, who I have not seen in some time. We have commas offsetting that. Is here today. The patient is here today. If we take who I have not seen in some time out of that sentence, it's still a whole sentence and can stand on its own. So that's why we use the commas in there to offset that statement, because we can take that out. The patient is here today and still have a sentence. So in sentences that begin with there is or there are, the subject follows the verb. Since there is not the subject, the verb agrees with what follows. Okay, so there are many questions. There is an answer. All right? Okay, when the subject of a sentence is composed of two or more nouns or pronouns connected by and, we use a plural verb. So the patient and his mother are in the office today. They are in the office. The patient and his mother are in the office. We wouldn't say the patient is and his mother is. Okay. When two or more singular nouns or pronouns are connected by or nor, we use a singular verb. So the patient nor his wife was informed. Neither were informed. The patient was, his wife was, nor not informed. The nurse or the doctor is present. Okay. When a compound subject contains both a singular and a plural noun or pronoun joined by or nor, the verb should agree with the part of the subject that is nearer the verb. This one I get confused on, but if you have two like that joined by or nor, just remember the subject closest to the verb is the one you match. So the patient or his family visit today. The patient or his family visits today. The family visits the patient, the family visit, because it's a plural unit, it's a cumulative or adjective, and the patient is singular, so the patient visits. Okay? Contractions, which we do not use in the medical record, but we need to know what they mean. For example, doesn't is a contraction of does not and should be used only with a singular subject. Don't is a contraction of do not and should only be used with the plural subject. So the exception to this rule appears in the case of the first person and second person pronouns I and you. With these pronouns, the contraction don't should be used. So I don't, you don't, he does not, they do not. Okay. Do not be misled by a phrase that comes between the subject and the verb. So the verb agrees with the subject, not with the noun or the pronoun. So one is open. One of the doors is open. The women are few. The women who listen to that music are few. The team leader, as well as his players, is anxious. So the subject is the team leader is anxious. Okay, so the stuff in between, you match the subject to the verb. Okay, just remember what is the subject of the sentence? The lady is the subject. The lady with all the cats. So that's just giving more information about the lady. The lady walks down the road. Okay. Okay. These words, each, everybody, either, and no one, are singular. So they mean, and they require a singular verb. Someone, somebody. Each of these apples is juicy. Everybody knows her. Either is correct. Either. You have a choice of one or more, one or the other. Either is. Each is. Everybody knows. Nobody knows. Okay, here we go. Oh, so nouns like economics, mathematics, dollars, months require singular verbs. So the news is on at 5. The word dollars is different. So when you talk about an amount of money, it takes a singular verb. $600 is a lot of money. Dollars are often used. Okay, so when you talk about amount of money, it takes a singular verb, but if it's the dollars themselves, you need the plural verb. Nouns like scissors, pants, and shears require plural verbs because there are 2 parts to them. These pants are tight. It's one thing, but there are 2 parts. Those scissors are dull. Okay. Collective nouns are words that imply more than one person, but that are considered singular and take a singular verb, such as group, team, committee, class, and family. Excuse me. So the team sings. I sing, you sing, but the team sings. All right? The crew is preparing. The crew is a unit, a single unit, but it's a group, but it functions as a single unit for the verb. Okay, the crew is preparing, not the crew are preparing. So even though there's members in the crew, there's multiple people, it still functions as a singular unit, okay? All right, units of measure. And some of this comes from the Book of Style 539. So the units of measure, even though they represent plural quantity, are collective singular nouns and take a singular verb. So 20 milliequivalents of XYZ was added. So XYZ was added. Then 2 milliliters was injected. So we're still talking about XYZ that was injected, not the, okay? Lidocaine without epinephrine and 20 milligrams of triamcinolone were injected. Now here we have 2 medications joined by a conjunction, and. So the expression requires a plural verb. Lidocaine and triamcinolone were injected. They were. So if you have medication joined by plus or with, it's read as a single unit because they're together. Lidocaine without epinephrine plus 20 milligrams was injected. Okay. So that requires a singular verb. Even though you have more than one thing, they're all together. So they're a singular verb. So expressions such as with, together with, including, accompanied by, in addition to, or as well as, do not change the number of the subject. So just remember, if the subject is singular, the verb is too. The patient is in the office today. I know I'm beating this in the ground. All of the notes, including yours, are in the desk. So we're talking about the notes. The notes are in the desk. Okay. Stick with the subject. The subject is singular, so is the verb. And finally, remember, only the subject affects the verb. Nothing else matters. The patient is in the office. Okay? Verb tense. So the main function of a verb is to indicate when the action happens. There are three main verb tenses. Now, there are many more tenses, several more at least, but I'm only going to talk about the three, past, present, future, okay? The present tense of a verb is the original form. The past tense can have different patterns. And the future, okay, here I threw that in there, future simple tense, and I didn't mean to. But this is future simple tense, is formed with will. So present tense, he likes to swim. He liked the film, past tense. He will like the party, future tense. Okay. So verbs can change, and, you know, the tense is what changes, you know, the verb. Okay. So present tense, true when the words are spoken or written. She goes to school. In this sentence, goes shows that it is a present tense. It suggests that she regularly goes to school. She is going to school. This says she is now going to school. So it's happening right now. It's true right now. Past tense is true before the words were spoken or written. She went to school. So here, went shows that it is a past tense. She isn't doing it now. She went. Future tense will be true after the words are spoken or written. She will go to school. In this sentence, will shows that it is a future tense. I will go. I will. Okay. My son, oh my gosh, trying to get him up in the morning when he was this has been many years ago, but Marcus, it's time to get up. I am. Okay, yeah, it's just funny. Okay, punctuation tidbits. Here we go. This was the part, guys, that was so hard for me to pare down because I wanted to put so much in here, but, you know, we only have so much time, so let's get going. All right, commas before conjunctions, joining two independent clauses. More information in Book of Style 623. Okay. So as I already have said, an independent clause is a complete sentence, and as I'm sure you already are aware. So when you hear independent clause, think sentence, okay? An independent sentence, clause sentence. Well, a clause isn't necessarily always a sentence. Never mind. Well, yes, it is. It's either complete or incomplete. So anyway, a complete sentence. I would like a sandwich for lunch. Okay, that's a complete sentence, a subject and a verb. A conjunction is a word that joins two separate sentences together. Okay, so the conjunction in this sentence, I would like a sandwich and I would also like a cup of soup for lunch. Those are, if we take out the word and, we have two complete sentences there. I would like a sandwich, I would also like a cup of soup for lunch. So and joins those two sentences together. Okay? Okay, the most common coordinating conjunctions are for, and, nor, but, or, yet, and so. And you can remember them by using the mnemonic device fanboys. For, and, nor, but, or, yet, so. Okay, we needed a quiet place to study, so we went to the library. The patient could not walk far, but she got by. Two complete sentences joined by a conjunction. All right. I'll get back in here. More examples. The boy likes to play and likes to run. Okay, so if you take what becomes, you know, in the sentence, if you take the part that comes before and, the boy likes to play, and then you take the part that comes after and, likes to run. We know who likes to play in the first half, but we don't know who likes to run in the second half of that statement. So therefore, the second clause is not a sentence after the word and we would not need a comma. So we need that subject. We need the subject, the boy, in that second after and, because it cannot stand on itself. Likes to run is not a complete sentence. Okay? But if it reads as follows, the boy likes to play, comma, and he likes to run, now we know who likes to run. He does. The boy likes to run. Okay? The boy and he likes to run. Okay, so he likes to run is a complete sentence. So we need the comma there, because both clauses before and after the word are complete sentences. All right. So sometimes, you know, if you have a run-on sentence or similar, you know, if you take the conjunction and put just kind of put lines before and after, if what comes after is a complete sentence, then you need a comma before the conjunction. If it isn't, then you don't need the comma. So the boy likes to play and he likes to run. Wrong. That's a run-on sentence. So that occurs when you have two independent clauses that are not joined properly. Okay? So we need the comma there to join those sentences. Comma splice. See this a lot. The boy likes to play, comma, he likes to run. No, that's two sentences, two independent clauses. You need the comma. I mean, you don't need the comma. You need a conjunction, or you need a period, okay? So, yeah, there's no conjunction, you need a period. Or you could probably use a semicolon as well, but not a comma. So that's what they call a comma splice, if you join two sentences together with a comma but no conjunction. Okay. Introductory elements. Okay, so we need to use a comma to separate the introductory statement or clause, word, whatever it might be, from the rest of the clause. So most likely, comma, the patient will be seen today. Ideally, I will see the patient today. So, but not after short introductory adverbs or phrases that answer the questions when, how often, where, and why. I have a little sticky note on my computer with the words when, how often, where, and why, so that I know when, how often, where, and why. I know. Sometimes I just have to glance up and what were those questions that I'm not, not supposed to put a comma if it answers that, and that's only with forward or a short introductory phrase. So tomorrow I will see the patient. That answers when, no comma. Occasionally he will call me. When, no comma. How often, no comma. For that reason, that answers why. We will see the patient early. No comma. Okay? In the meantime, no comma. It answers when. Okay, here we go. Items in a simple series. Sometimes we get confused on this one. So we need a comma to separate two or more items, including before the word or and the word and. So the patient had no complaints of nausea, comma, vomiting, comma, or diarrhea. Three things there we need to separate by commas. That's a series of two or more. We need commas. CBC, white count, and CMP will be obtained. Okay, do not use a comma, however, if all of the items are joined by and or. So the patient complained of nausea and vomiting and some leg pain. We will get a chest x-ray and abdominal ultrasound and call her with the results. No commas needed. There's no new subjects. There's no, it's not a, okay? And Book of Style 622, you can look that up there for maybe some more information. Non-essential expressions. So a non-essential expression is something that can be taken out of the sentence without changing the meaning of the sentence. So you can take it out. It works both ways. Okay, so abdomen soft and flat, comma, without rebound. Abdomen soft and flat without rebound. So do we need that comma or not? So according to Book of Style 631, we do not use the comma there because what comes after the comma would imply that that sentence would be fine without it. I mean, we're removing information that needs to be there, so we don't use a comma there. So to remove the clause in the sentence would change the meaning, and not enough information would be given. Okay? So we do not use the comma before without. All right. What's the chat? He or she in the slide before this. Well, I can't go back, so. All right. Interrupting elements. Use a pair of commas in the middle of a sentence to set off clauses, phrases, and words that are not essential to the meaning of the sentence. So one comma before to indicate the beginning of the pause and one at the end to indicate the end of the pause. So if you can remove the information between the commas and the sentence still makes sense, they are in the right place. If it does not make sense, then there's an error somewhere. The patient, I believe, will be scheduled for blood draw later today. The patient will be scheduled for blood draw later today. So I believe can be taken from that sentence, and it will still make sense. So we need those commas there for interrupting elements. Okay. You can read more about this in Book of Style 632. Hyphens and compound modifiers. Oh my gosh, so much confusion here. So we all know a compound modifier is two or more words that function as a unit to modify a noun or pronoun. So if we have a medicine that is fast-acting, sometimes we call it a fast-acting medicine. Fast-acting is modifying medicine, fast-acting, okay? So we use the hyphen when the compound modifier comes before a noun. Okay, but if no noun follows, no hyphen is needed. So remember, the noun is the subject that we're modifying. Second floor office. The office is on the second floor. Well-developed female. The patient is well-developed. Okay? No noun follows, no hyphen needed. Well-developed. Okay. Use a hyphen to form a compound modifier between a number and a word if it precedes and modifies a noun. Okay, so when the word represents a unit of measure, only hyphenate when the unit is an English unit of measure, which is spelled out in full. So 3-week, 3-week history, 5-year-old male, 2-inch laceration. Those units of measure are spelled out in full, so we hyphenate. 3-week history, okay? However, we do not hyphenate if the unit of measure is an abbreviated metric unit, okay? If neither numeric value nor the unit of measure constitutes an actual word with which a compound can be formed. So a 3-centimeter incision, we don't hyphenate that. A 10-milligram dose, it's a metric unit, we don't hyphenate it. It's not spelled out in full, there's no hyphen. 4 by 6 by 3 centimeter mass. Now, if that was a 3-inch incision, yes, we put a hyphen there, 3-inch incision, as we saw on the previous chart slide. All right. Heme negative and well-appearing are always hyphenated to show they are acting as a single unit to describe the noun. So a person cannot be just appearing. Okay, they are something appear. They just can't be appearing. Well appearing, ill appearing, mad appearing, whatever. Hungry appearing. A stool cannot be heme. Okay, it's heme negative. All right, or positive, whatever it might be. Okay, so in order for those to make sense, they need to be linked using the hyphen. Short-lived, always hyphenated, functions as a single unit. This is a 13-year-old. Okay, so this one, I sometimes forget even myself. The compound modifier is still describing the implied noun that follows the age. So 13-year-old person, male, female, whatever, is implied. So the word this is not the subject of the sentence, okay? So we still hyphenate that because the noun is implied that would follow, okay? Even though it's not there, it's implied, all right? Some compound modifiers, low back pain, jugular venous distension, they're so commonly used together that they're just clear automatically. You don't hyphenate them. So we don't use hyphens for low back pain, jugular venous. There's more, but those are just a couple of examples. Because you wouldn't have low pain. Anyway. All right. Ranges. This is another one that we get tripped up on. Use a hyphen in place of the word to if all of the following conditions are met. Okay, so pretty much you're going to use the hyphen unless these 5 things happen. Okay? The phrases from, to, from, through, and between, and are not used. So if they're not saying from 2 to 3, then you can use your hyphen. If there are decimals or commas that do not appear, okay, so if decimals and or commas do not appear in the numeric value, you use your hyphen. If neither value contains 4 or more digits, you can use your hyphen. If you have 1,000 to 2,000, you're not going to be able to use the hyphen. So if either value is negative, you use your hyphen. If you have -2 to 3 or whatever, if there's a negative value, you can't use the hyphen. We don't want to confuse, we don't want it to be hard to read or confusing or have to try to figure out. We want it to be clear, so we would spell out 2 in that case, in that case. And if either value contains a symbol, you don't use the hyphen. Like when we percents, like 2% to 3%, we're always going to spell 2%. We're always going to spell the 2. Okay, we're not going to use a hyphen with any kind of symbol. All right. And Book of Style 657 is where you can find that. Use a hyphen in a compound modifier formed with a one-word modifier or prefix, so non-disease. No such thing as non-disease, so we use the hyphen in non-disease. Non-insulin dependent diabetes, mellitus. Not non-hyphen insulin. Okay, so there's no such thing as non-insulin. We do accept it without the hyphen, but I'm just telling you it should be hyphenated. Okay, non-hyphen insulated. I can't even speak, and I forgot the hyphen in that. Anyway, you need non-hyphen insulin hyphen dependent diabetes dependent. I didn't even put it, I'm sorry, I apologize. This slide is incorrect. I mean, I left out the word diabetes, so I do apologize there. But anyway, I think you can tell what I mean, hopefully. I'm sure you can. Moving on. Common prefixes. So we don't use a hyphen after most, after the common prefixes, except if they are preceding a proper noun, a capitalized word, or an abbreviation. So, let's see. So, if you have supratentorial, whatever it is, You add the supra right to the word. You don't put a hyphen there. Post-traumatic is as one word. Preoperative. Undersurface. Okay, unless, you know, you have a word that will change in meaning by adding that prefix. So re-create is, I'm going to recreate the scene. Recreate is recreate, which is totally different from recreate. So, and there are more examples in the Book of Style 658 if you want to go over there and take a look. And also, you know, you can consult a dictionary to look up the meaning of words that you're not sure about, which I highly recommend doing. Merriam-Webster or One Look Dictionary. Well, there's lots of good online dictionaries, so find one and, you know, use it. It just takes a minute to pop that word in there. Follow-up or follow-up, 2 words or 1 word. So follow-up as 1 word is a noun. Think of it as the word appointment. Follow-up as 2 words is a verb. This is an action word. Someone is going to follow up or is following up. They're performing an action. For example, the patient will be seen in follow-up. That's a noun. It's telling what is, you know, what the patient will be seen in, follow up. The patient will follow up next week. That's a verb. It's something the patient is going to do. Will or to directly before follow-up is a verb and always will be 2 words. Okay, so the patient will, it's a verb. It's going to be a verb. The patient is expected to follow up, will or to. She will have a follow-up appointment. That tells what kind of appointment. That's functioning as an adjective, and that is perfectly acceptable without the hyphen. You know, I think we're gearing away from the hyphen there with the follow-up appointment, but it's acceptable either way. Okay, this is what I did. I have a little sticky note hanging right up in front of my eyes because every now and then I'm like, well, what is this? You know, I have to look. I kind of get it now. You know, it took a while, but I get it. But, you know, for a while I did have to have that sticky note. Patient will follow up. If I hear that, that tells, you know, is that, I wonder, patient will follow up. Patient will. That's a verb. It's an action. It's something that the patient is going to do. You need the space between the words, okay? The patient is here for follow-up. It's a noun. It's something the patient is doing. What is the patient doing? She's here for follow-up. Okay, no space. Patient is here for follow-up. Visit is an adjective. It's telling what kind of visit. No hyphen or space. I mean, you can use the hyphen or no space, either one. So, yeah, this is the sticky note I have on my computer. It's been there for years. I should probably, anyway. So, you know, these little things can help. Sticky notes, things, you know, the question, the introductory element, the how, often, when, where, why, all that. It just helps. All you have to do is glance up there. Takes a second. Work up and work up, same thing. 2 words, it's an action. 1 word, it's a noun. I would like to further work up this patient with regard to her pain. So the workup is the action that's going to be taken. The patient's workup is the thing that was done. As 1 word, the workup was negative. That's the thing. It's 1 word. 2 words is a action, something we're going to be doing or have done. And the 1 word is the thing. So see how the words change just by putting them together. Follow up and follow up. They're, you know, you can see how the meanings change. Okay, specialties. This is something we get confused on from time to time. Something that really works. I mean, it's just so simple. If you can replace it with Dr. Smith and it makes sense, then it needs to be capitalized. He will be referred to orthopedics. Okay, he will be referred to Dr. Smith. Yes, that makes sense. So capitalize orthopedics. Okay. He will be seen in orthopedics. Okay, so he will be seen in Dr. Smith does not make sense. Do not capitalize it. All right, here we go. All right. So that's a pretty simple thing. Even if you just write Dr. Smith and put that on a sticky note, that might jog your memory. Oh, if I can, so I mean it helps. So if it's their, All right. What do we have here? Who versus whom. So a good trick here is ask yourself, who are we inviting? Are we inviting him? If you could answer with him, then you use whom. Him and whom both end with the letter M, so that's kind of your little helper there. So whom should we invite? Should we invite him? We should invite him. So you've got a him, so the choice is whom. Okay, so if you can replace it with him, then it's going to be whom. He is going. Him doesn't work, so the right choice is who. So he is going. You wouldn't say him is going, so you're going to choose who. Who, with whom, with who, yeah. Whom. Now, obviously, it's not always going to be a male person, but she, he, whatever. If you use the who, him, the him, and then you can tell if it should be who or him. Who or whom. Okay. A, an, or the. So these are articles, and they're a determiner and go before a noun. A, and before a noun shows that what is referred to is not already known. So it's an indefinite article. Do you have a car? Do you live in a house? No, actually, I live in an apartment. It doesn't, it's not a definite, it's an indefinite. It's not a specific thing. So the article, the before a noun, shows what is referred to is already known. So it's the definite article. Where did we park the car? We know what car is being referred to here, the car. We had to paint the apartment before we sold it. So we know what apartment is being referred to. The makes it a specific noun. Okay? So a, an, and the are the articles. A and an are indefinite. You don't really know which one, and the is specific. Compound words. Two words joined to create a new word with a different meaning from the individual words. So compound words can be open, separate words, or with no space between them, or they can be hyphenated. Living room, full moon, these are open compound words, okay? Two words used together considered one thing. Dinner table, coffee mug. So closed compound words look like this. Okay, they're one word. Today, cannot, notebook. Undersurface, somewhere. Some and where are two different words. We put them together, they mean a totally different thing. So these are compound words, okay? Okay, here we go. Sometime versus sometime versus sometime. Okay. Sometimes means now and then or occasionally. Sometimes I wonder. Sometime means at some unspecified time. I'll get around to it sometime. Sometime means quite a while. It may take some time. Okay? Three different meanings. Hyphens in compound words. So again, rule of thumb, in most cases, the hyphen is used if it comes before the noun. If it's after the noun, you don't use the hyphen. Long-term solution, you would be hyphenated. This is not a good solution for the long term, no hyphen. Many, many rules here. So be sure to consult a dictionary to determine whether these words should be hyphenated or not. ly, never, we never hyphenate the verbs ending in ly. Okay? It's or its. So it's with an apostrophe always mean it is or it has. For example, you could write it's lunchtime with it apostrophe s, or you could write it is lunchtime without the contraction. Since we don't use contractions in medical transcription, we would write it is. It's is the contraction of two words, it and is, okay? So its is the possessive form of it. You would use its without the apostrophe in sentences like these. The horse needs its tail trimmed. The car has a scratch on its bumper. You know, a lot of us tend to think, oh, you know, the apostrophe is going to show possession, but not in this case. It's a contraction. The apostrophe is used for a contraction. Okay. Parentheses. Sometimes we get confused about these. When the statement contained in the parentheses falls at the end of the sentence, the placement of the terminal punctuation depends on whether the words inside the parentheses are a complete sentence, okay? So if the words inside the parentheses are not a complete sentence, the terminal punctuation goes at the end of the sentence after the parentheses, like this. I like lunch and dinner, period. Could you bring my lunch now? Please? No. Question mark. Okay. So if the words inside the parentheses are a complete sentence, then the period, question mark, or exclamation point that ends the sentence goes inside the parentheses. And I should have made that plural, and I do apologize. It should read parentheses. I apologize. Okay, bring lunch, period. Shelley is hungry, period. And then so then the parentheses, since you have a complete sentence there, the parentheses go on the outside of the punctuation. Okay? Mixed punctuation. This, you know, use a semicolon to separate two separate sentences. If the clauses express related ideas or concepts. Over half the people have eaten lunch today, semicolon. The rest are still waiting. So here we can join these like sentences together with the semicolon. We could use a period or the semicolon, either one. Also, if you have a list, within a list, you can use semicolons to separate that. Oh, that's it. All right, well, we made it. Let me, oh gosh. Let me turn